Hi there, people. Hi. Mm. Um, Sunday, June 24, and not easy. You see there, price is bouncing down there at the support. Well, it's below support, but you know, it's like a Bitstamp is 5895, you know, and it won't go below. It's like it's been a little bit below, but it won't stay there. So rather than look at my mug, have a look at this. I'm looking at the OKCoin 3 months 5-minute chart, right? I want to see the detail, and yeah, that's not it's achieving an incremental low. I'm not sure how it's going to react. So you see up in the right hand corner here in the 5-minute chart, you see all of those blue dots. That's all divergence. In other words, as it's going down, it's regularly diverging. Okay, we had the same thing in the left. You're not really going to see that unless I scroll out. Coming down from up there, we had a similar situation. It's diverging. So will it go lower? Yes, it could go lower. Can it go lower? Yes, it might do. Am I 100% sure that it's gonna go lower? I don't know. I'm not seeing a convincing low. If it goes lower at this point, that really stresses me out. It stresses me out because to me it doesn't make technical sense. No, not the low itself, but everything that preceded it, right? So if we look at a 1-day chart, I'm actually, I gotta switch to Bitstamp to make the point. Have a look at this. There's Bitstamp, right? Arithmetic view. So you see where my cursor is. That's at the low of February 6th. We're not below that level. We're at it, but the 1-day chart hasn't closed below it. The 1-week chart hasn't closed below it. That's one factor. The other is that from up here, ABC, okay, fair enough, ABC, then what is this? Not achieving lower lows, you know, because if you've got an impulsive wave that's drawing price lower, then it'll go from the market top, it'll go 1, 2, 3 lower, 4 a lower high, 5 lower again, a lower low. It's gotta achieve decline, right? This is not achieving decline, it's achieving support. And this has been my point all along for several months. You know, it's like it's not achieving decline. Like, so what is it doing, right? Then if you look at what is it doing, what are the alternatives? If technically it's not achieving lower lows, it's just achieving support every time, then that's called a barrier triangle, right? That's a barrier triangle because there's a support barrier that's stopping it every time. The market is like, oh, okay, we didn't, you know, we were only joking. We didn't actually mean to go lower. We just wanted to get there, and then somebody buys it up higher, right? As we see. So down to support, higher, down to support, a lower high, granted. here it's achieving the previous, it might even go like a smidgen lower. But what does that mean? Is it like we don't have a track record of lower lows? We've only got a track record of support at 5,900 or 6,000, like a zone. It's like when it goes there, people are buying it up. Who's buying it up? We don't know. Is it retail investors? Well, retail investors collectively don't have the buying power of Wall Street, right? Is Wall Street trading today? Well, maybe they've got a team that comes in on a Sunday. We don't know. Is it long-time Bitcoin holders who are saying, let's protect this level, we don't want to go below it? Whatever is going on, it's a massive struggle for the bears to pull below 5,900. On the screen, you see that Bitstamp is at 5,904. It's not below 5,900. Where will it be tomorrow morning when the daily and the weekly candles close? So I'm talking about my time zone tomorrow morning. I mean at like 0-100 hours UTC, right, when the candles close. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm really stressed out because, like, I wanna know. I've advertised the view I just explained to you. I've voiced it via Twitter. I've said it to all of you who are listening. I've made certain decisions not to trade until I don't see a upward reaction and then price declining, right? But that means that all the time the price is pushing on that support, it's kind of like, is it going to pop through? Is it going to suddenly pop through and just like, well, if it's going to pop through the supporting level of 5,900, what is it gonna do? It can go to the next support, which is 5,500 roundabout. I'll show you where that level is. You see this cluster here and this low here. So where this kind of price negotiation was going on during October and November of 2017, price could hold there. It's right there right now. That's like between 5,900 and 5,500 is the lower boundary, right? So if it goes there, then like there could be more tussling, like an upward reaction, whatever. Do we trade it? I'm not recommending it a short trade. I'm not recommending a short trade. That's why there are no TRs out. That's why I'm not talking about that. I'm just mentioning the targets. I've got no confidence that this is achievable. Why? To my original point, A, B, C, D, E, right? Is that what's going on? Or is this wave is this wave A to the downside and then A, B, C, D, E? That's also feasible. It is feasible that support is found soon, like at 5,900 or 5,500, and then we're going back up, and then I'm like, okay, everybody, we've got a 1 day sell signal, we've got a 4 hour sell signal, we've got a 1 hour sell signal, let's go short, and price reverses upwards. I cannot do that. I cannot recommend it. I've got no confidence here. When this crossover happened, I had absolute confidence. When this crossover happened, I had absolute confidence. At this crossover, I was like, I don't think we're going to get lower lows here because, we're still above the prices returning to the 50 MAs. So what's going on? I've just got a complete lack of confidence, number one, in what price is doing, number two, in my ability to analyze it. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Like, I mean, how does one be completely honest? I'm just gonna be honest with you. I do not understand what's happening in the price chart. To me, it seems irrational. I'm not going to go so far as to say it's manipulated, or it's, you know, it's up to stupidity, or it doesn't make sense. It's just like, logically, I cannot, any of the analysis techniques I know, whether it's Elliott wave, moving averages analysis, whether I'm putting tones, tone vays as a sequential time indicator on here, it doesn't make sense, because, you know, tones indicator is really good at indicating highs on a 9, right? Or when you get a sort of a market high on a 9, his indicator shows that. I know that. One can verify it in this chart, the Bitcoin chart. You can verify it in any chart, gold, S&P. The rally highs are often indicated by a 9, but the decline lows, it's not coded for decline lows, and Bitcoin is crazy on declines. That's when it becomes crazy, not to the upside, you know. So it's really difficult to analyze with the techniques I know. Using other people's techniques, I'm still uncertain. So what to do, right? What to do? Let me just change from here to my other screen. I'm back home, by the way. Number one, I'm back home. I'm at my desk. I've got my full array of networking and computers working. Everything's fine. The monsoon that kept me on an island not far from here has passed. It's sunshiny outside, wind still. You'd never guess there was the strongest storm in living history just a week ago. I want to go from here to the other screen and see what's happening in the live chat, who's online and who's not. Just give me a minute. Hey, Aries, hi, how you doing? Good to see you. Well, Michael, a descending triangle, right? I'm going to try and represent it in the correct orientation for you. A descending triangle comes from a high and does this, right? So price will gradually decrease and make lower lows, right? That's a descending triangle, after which it must go up. There's no descending triangle there because there's no descending triangle because a descending triangle requires this low to be lower than this low. Okay, so if it's A, B, C, D, E, it cannot, that's not a valid descending triangle, because this low here that I'm circling the cursor around is higher than that low. Then you can say, okay, well, it's not a descending triangle from the high, from the all-time high. It's a descending triangle from this point. In other words, this is one way from the all-time high to the decline low. Then it's going a triangle, you count A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, that could be a descending triangle. Yeah, that could be like A, B, C. Then you don't count this point because that's the decline low, right? You start counting there. A, B, C, D, E. But that still means that we gotta go up before we really go down. Before the strong decline hits, we've still gotta go up and hit whatever trend line is running across here, and it's going to be around 8,000, 8,500 across these tops, right? if somebody starts drawing a triangle there, right, in other words, A, B, C, D, E, then what about this point? Then A, B, C, D, E, then this triangle is almost over, because what's happening is wave E of the triangle is overshooting the barrier line between there and there, right? That also implies imminent reversal to the upside. So however I look at this, right, however I look at it, whether it's like in the indicators, you see up there in the daily chart, you see there, that's a divergence. It's making new price lows, but RSI is no longer making new price lows. MACD is no longer touching its lower Bollinger Band. Where in the chart do you see that? Where do you see, like, you know, there's no, it's completely unprecedented what's happening. There's no chart, like what MACD normally does, touches its lower Bollinger Band and goes back to its upper Bollinger Band. This one has touched it, right? That's why I was getting bullish last week or the week before. It's like it touches Bollinger Band, it's advancing. There's a 4-hour buy signal, right, forming. Let's give it a moment to cross the MACD 0. It didn't, and we're back in decline. I've got no explanation for what's happening. By Elliott wave terms, right, which I know Elliott wave inside out, right? Maybe there's like, there are people in the world, maybe there are people in the world who know it better than me. But I mean, in terms of the rules and the guidelines, I know each one of them, like through and through. There's only like 25 rules and guidelines. You know, and they kind of logically Rubik's Cube together. You can't accidentally get one wrong and get the other one right. What's happening here is unprecedented. That's all I can say. So I'm not trying to make excuses for me or making excuses for this market. I'm just telling you that, like, what's happening here, I wouldn't trade it. If you're gonna trade to the downside, right, you might get lucky, right, and it might plunge to 2,500, like in one massive red candle on the weekly or the monthly chart, right? But then what? You know, then it's broken. The market has broken its own precedent for 1.618 time lapse in terms of rally and correction. If the market would have broken that itself, right? So do you trade that or don't you trade that? You don't trade it. You don't trade it. Like, if the market is doing something it's never done before, like if this time is different, you say, well, oh, this time is different, let me trade it, and it reverses. Like, what's your then what will happen next, right? Then it's not going to stop at 2,500. Then it can go to 1,000. It can go to 200. It can, you know. So then there's no correlation. Then there's no technical foundation. Then there's no precedent in this chart for what's happening. If there's no precedent, then you don't know what you're doing, right? Then you don't know what the chart's doing, and you don't know what to do. What I'm suspecting is happening here is the bulls are waiting, and the bears are pushing their luck too early. They're being over eager before the opportune moment, and they're going to get punished by some institution or some group of institutions suddenly blasting them out of their short trades. That's the only thing I can see happening here. If it just carries on going down, well, everything is bearish now, right? Except the 1 week chart. If the 1 week chart was already bearish, I'd say, okay, people, let's sell. And I don't believe it, but those are the signals. But we don't have a 1 week sell signal. That's the only thing from stopping me from going like full bear, you know, like full, like jungle black bear. Let's get in there and sell. I'm all for selling. That's how we make our money during the corrections. But this is really strange. Valentine. Hi Valentine, how are you doing? Aries, it seems like we close the weekly lower. No, the weekly candle hasn't closed. It closes tomorrow at, 0 hours UTC. Volumes are, no, but it's selling volume, right? The selling volume. Hold on a minute. I need to drink some golden tea. Whenever let me posit something to you. Let me present you with an idea, right? Whenever the herd, right? So in other words, the people, we're talking about the retail herd, right? It could also be the institutional herd. It could also be the cypherpunks herd. Whenever a herd becomes unanimous in its direction and its action, the opposite normally happens. Right, so for instance with global warming, when everybody is maximum supporting global warming, when everybody is like saying let's ban carbon dioxide, even though carbon dioxide is something that we naturally by evolution breathe out, right? Now, there are motions in the US Senate to declare carbon dioxide and a pollutant. This is an undesirable toxin, right? But it's produced by the human body. So, so the human being turns on itself. We are pollutants on the world, in the world, right? Global warming is just like now the polar ice caps are melting, Al Gore is like, there's just a hockey stick effect. It's like the peak oil, it's just going to get like incredibly worse, it's just going to get out of control. Whenever a crowd, whenever the dominant, the mass thinking turns to an idea and becomes like, overexcited about it, like unanimous, like this is it, that's the point where it changes. Not because of some sick joke by the universe, but because that is human mentality. The human being swings from one hyperbolic reaction to the other. That's why history repeats itself. Right? If we were on the middle road with history, we'd learn from our mistakes and progress, right? But we're repeating the cycle of empire every time. We fall back into warfare. We go between boom and bust economic cycles. We go between like Bitcoin rally and Bitcoin crash. It's just the way the human being is. I'm putting an idea to you. I'm not saying I'm an expert or a scholar. I'm just talking about from my little perspective that I developed in my life. So when everybody is like so bearish now, right? When the sentiments reach extreme, when the volume shrinks to nothing, when RSI is like, can it go any lower, and then it goes even lower. When all these things stack up, it's starting to imply to you that there'll be a reversal, right? And my point is backed up by this global warming thing. At the moment, when everyone was like unanimous, the global warming is going to destroy the earth, and that is human beings doing it with their nastiness. I agree that pollution is bad. I agree that we as human beings should take care of our home on this planet, right? We should. But the conclusion that human beings cause global warming, right? That conclusion is wrong, and it's scientifically provable. I can't prove it to you. You need to go do your research. The research is on the internet. The planet is in fact cooling. What we're going into is not a period of global warming, but a period of global cooling. We're in fact going into an ice age, right? Not 1,000 years from now, 50 years from now, it's going to be much cooler on this planet than it was 100 years ago, than it was 200 years ago. So in terms of the market, this kind of mass bearish thing, it's the human being shooting itself in the foot, because it becomes hyperbolic at the extremes. Your urge to sell is much stronger at the low, right, at the market low, than it was at the market top. At the market top, your predominant psychological impetus was to buy, right? This is the strange thing about being human, and why we have charts that swing wildly, because we are prone to overreaction. This here that's going on is a no trade zone. Don't do anything. You're not going to lose, right? What you, if you, is there any candle in this chart, in the entire history of this chart, that you know, price was doing thousands of dollars a day during let me just get this in the picture. Price was doing thousands of dollars a day in December, January, and February, right? Now it's doing like, you know, it's gone through periods where it's like doing $50 and $100 a day. Even today, I mean, it's bit stamp price is still above 5,900. You know, it's not doing anything. Yet you feel your psychology is telling you it's going to go down $1,000. It's not going to go down $1,000. It's just going to stay there where it is. I bet you it's not going to go anywhere. If it goes lower, if it goes any lower, some person is going to say, this is ridiculous, it's time to buy Bitcoin. You know, I think I should buy. But the guy who's invested to the downside, he's like, it's gonna crash. It's incredible. This is like the sky falling down. It's not, dude. It's just, you know, it's just scraping the bottom. This is bottom scraping, man. You know those fish that swim on the bottom of the sea and eat whatever. They can't go in there a lot. They can go a little bit below and dig themselves in the sand, but all this market has shown us is a low there, and another low at approximately the same level. In psychological terms, Elliott wave terms, if this is the A wave down, right? If this is A, B, C, D, E, then wave E is finished. Here, where we are, it's time to buy. If this is the A wave and we're in a B wave, right? If this is A, B, C, D, then D is also soon going to end at current levels, 5,900 or maybe 5,500, and then it's going to suddenly go up. It's going to go back to 8,000, right, before we get the strong decline. But you do not want to sell into a weak decline. You don't want to sell at the bottom. You don't want to sell at support, like, oh, it's done this 3 times and now it's going to go below. Why would it go below? If it's going to go below, well then, you know, I'm just wrong and it's an anomaly. But what we see on the chart, there's no reason to assume that it's now going to go down, right? If you bounce a ball on the floor and it goes boom, 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 each time in a shorter thing you're like, oh my god, it's getting closer to the bottom, it's going to fall right through the floor. It's not going to fall through the floor, man. Come on. You're just getting crazy with your downside, man. Yeah, you're saying you're losing because BTC is going down, right? Yeah, you're losing. For sure you're losing. But Bitcoin is not in a, we gotta understand this. Bitcoin is not at danger of slowly approaching zero like Apple stock, right? You know, the whole world is running around with iPhone and MacBook and all of that. This is a crap product, right? You can go and research this yourself. They have done people in charging for professional grade hardware and software that doesn't work. How many people have had a problem with their iPhone? How many people have had a problem with their MacBook? More than any other product in the history of mankind. So it doesn't mean, you know, the Bitcoin is going to slowly go to zero. Like, but if you think about Apple, you're like, no, it's a good product. You know, everyone uses it. I'm going to upgrade. In fact, when my contract runs out, I'm going to go from iPhone like 12 to iPhone 13. You know, Friday the 13th iPhone. But iPhone is crap, right? Everyone knows that. I know that. I started using Apple in like the 80s because it was the best, and then they just slowly went down, man, because they went for mass consumerism, and they sacrificed quality for sales. The quality of the hardware is crap. They use cheap, you know, China's got really good components these days, but Apple still uses the crap, cheap Chinese products that they were using in the 2000s and the 90s. They're not using the higher end top brand Chinese products because, I don't know, maybe they feel that's a rip-off, you know, they're shaving cents off of their production cost. Apple can go to zero, right? Apple can go to zero, tend towards zero at least. Bitcoin cannot tend towards zero, because I'm telling you, as long as I'm alive, I will buy Bitcoin the closer it gets to zero. And there are a lot of people who will do that, because it's not, for me, it's not about whether Bitcoin is better than Litecoin, or better than Monero, or Bitcoin Cash, or any of that. What I know is that Bitcoin does what I need it to do. It fulfills my use case, and that's what I wanna own, right? In 100 years, people might appreciate that, and then my kids, my children will have that benefit. I believe 100% in Bitcoin, in its design document, in its developers, in its current fundamental, its code logic, and the layer 2 solutions that can be built on it. There's no other coin can do that. Bitcoin is not tending towards zero. Bitcoin tends to sell off, but it's constantly at the risk of being bought up in a spike rally, because there are enough intelligent people to know that this is the only blockchain that matters. So you might say that, yeah, I'm losing money while Bitcoin is going lower. Yeah, you're losing money for the time being. All the time that you're being paid your salary, you're losing money, because the dollar is not depreciating, you know, year on year. The dollar depreciates day by day, right? Inflation in the US and your central bank and Australia and whatever country you can call, your central bank is trying to achieve 2% inflation. In other words, inflation of consumer products, the price of consumer goods. They want to inflate it 2% a year, right? So that's their objective. They want to deflate your fiat currency value 2% per year. It crosses over like that. So you're losing Bitcoin, yeah, for a few months or a few years, but eventually it's going to go up, right? You didn't buy Bitcoin because it was going to increase your net value. It was going to be a store of value for a few months, right? You bought Bitcoin because it's going to be a store of value for a few years or a few decades. So you don't need to panic when Bitcoin is selling off. Every correction in the price history of the chart has led to a new all-time high, right? The deeper the correction goes, the higher the all-time high. Unless this was the last time, unless the previous all-time high was the last time, and this correction is the one that's going to take it to zero. Is that likely? Is that likely? Technically, it's not likely. So any kind of panic you feel that, oh my God, I'm busy losing, well, you got to check yourself, because you're going to sell at the bottom, you're going to sell at the support floor, hoping that price goes through the support floor. You see how it's going through the support floor, and then you're gonna make money? No, I mean, when it comes back up through the support floor, you're gonna regain your value, right? You're gonna regain your value. I don't know where all of you all bought, but with Bitcoin it doesn't matter where you buy. You can buy at 200 or you can buy at 20,000. You're gonna regain your value, right? Because there's always somebody else who wants to be in Bitcoin, especially when the ICOs go down and when all of the altcoins disappear, right? The altcoins will disappear within 2 years, because within 2 years you will have Lightning Network active, proving to the whole world that layer 2 works, that it exists, right? Most people don't know this. They don't know that layer 2 exists and layer 3 and 4. They just like, oh, Bitcoin is slow, it's old school, it's like, I gotta get into EOS, you know, because that's even better than Ethereum, you know. There's no known use for a smart contract. There's no known use for a smart contract, number one. Number two, Bitcoin is slow and tedious and expensive precisely because those are the means by which it provides censorship resistance and unconfiscatable money transfer. So you got Bitcoin, which is just perfect, right? It's exactly as it was designed, and with time, more and more people want to get into that, and that's how you're gonna gain from Bitcoin. No matter where you buy, making money from a short, right? Making money from a short play, you got to do that really carefully with Bitcoin. And selling at the support, that's the wrong moment. That's the wrong moment. I'm going to tell you right now. That's why I'm not issuing trade recommendations. You don't want to sell at support. Even if it, like, if by some unprecedented coincidence, it drops to 2,500 tonight, right? Well, you can buy at 2,500, right? Because we all got 50-50 allocation, right? Fiat and Bitcoin, right? So you can buy at 2,500. But if it doesn't go to 2,500, you've bought at 5,900, right? And price goes up. Yeah, you're in serious trouble, man. You're in serious trouble. And that's the risk of what's going to happen. Areas. I'm gonna apply everything I learned. You know, I was the most argumentative. I got in lots of fights. You see here, you see here. You see my nose is crooked, you see here. I got in so many fights about so many things in my life, right? Where I came to blows defending somebody else's honor or my own or whatever issue. That's not a threat of violence. I'm just saying that I've learned with time. It's best to be mild about everything. Every 5 waves of advance leads to a new 5 waves of advance, right? At the same time as every 5 waves of advance lead to a 3-wave correction. After that 3-wave correction is done, you get another 5 waves of advance to a new all-time high. You can see this in any chart in the world, right? You can see this in tidal charts, that you might think the tide is high today, but down the line it's going to go lower than the low it had today. It's going to go higher than the high it had today. With a price chart, we're not looking at a solar cycle that is limited by the existence of the thing. We're not looking at a tidal chart that's limited by the interaction between the Earth and the Moon and the Sun. With a price chart, you're looking at speculation, right? There's no chart that moves like Bitcoin. There's no chart in the history of the world that moves like Bitcoin. And you know, even gold now, that used to be the mover, you know, that used to be the mover. It's not, it cannot compete with Bitcoin because Bitcoin beats it on every count. There's no other asset, there is no other thing in existence that beats Bitcoin for its fundamentals. It's open market. I'm not talking about free market, right? I'm not talking about capitalism and Marxism and all of that. I'm talking about an open market. In other words, if somebody wants Bitcoin, they can buy Bitcoin. It's up to them. There's no middleman. They have to. They can buy it out of their own free will, with no control and no KYC and whatever. Bitcoin is the ultimate asset class for both storing value and speculating on price. If we don't see 20,000 again, right, then that's the end of markets. Somebody might, you know, somebody was saying we'll never see this or that price again. You'll see that price again. It just depends on supply and demand. It just depends on where social mood and supply and demand is at, because we don't know, right? We don't know. As you say, nobody's got a crystal ball. You can't say like 20,000 is the top of Bitcoin, because no chart has ever shown a definitive top. There's no study that shows that a maximum value can be reached and then that's that, right? People, by the way, my house is about to get noisy. I just see some visitors pull up. She got kids, man. The kids are naughty. I don't know if they're gonna rip apart my body or my lab here. I don't know. I hope not. I don't see any kids, but she get, God, they are kids. Yeah, guys, I'm not, you know, I'm quite disappointed and perhaps emotional. I'm not invested in this market at all. I'm just watching the value of my Bitcoin and our project funds go down, and it's not what I anticipated. It's not what I expected. Is it some analytical shortcoming on my part? I don't know. Just a minute. สวัสดีครับน้องแอลคุณสบายดีไหมครับแอลนั้นห้องน้ำครับไปห้องน้ำได้ครับห้องน้ำ I'm doing a video, okay? ไปร้านอาหารได้ไหม I'm trying to convince my people in the house to go somewhere. There are. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not trying to, even though I'm emotional, even though I'm disappointed, I'm upset. I'm emotionally upset, and this is a good reason for me to not trade, because what this chart is doing for me is a disappointment in the Bitcoin market, right? And number two, my ability to assess it, to analyze it. That's not nice. I'm not happy about that. And so perhaps my arguments or my kind of rhetoric is too reactionary, perhaps too emotional. I don't mean to offend anybody. I don't mean to tell anybody you're wrong. You know, every viewpoint is valid. I'm just, this is kind of the time that I know all of you want to hear from me, right? Like my reaction to certain arguments. So similar to Tone Bayes, you know, when Leah presents a story to him, and he's like, this story is absolute bullshit. He's not telling Leah Wald that she's bullshit. He's telling her that the writer of the article is making a bullshit point, right? So when somebody presents an idea to me that this, that, and the other in the market, I'm criticizing the idea. I'm not criticizing you, the person. There's no point in kind of denigrating people. But ideas can be debated and posed. You know, unfortunately, this is like a one-way channel. It's like me talking, you're putting ideas, and I'm talking back at you. So apologies if my response to your question is too strong. Right. Regarding, I just need to check something. That's me there. I just wanna post something here in the chat, right? Oh dear, it's not working. The chat won't accept it because it's a link. Okay, regarding project funds, I guess a lot of you had been worried when I was stuck on an island, saying I can't leave the island, you know, because of dangerous seas, because there's a storm blowing, whatever, you know, a volcano in Indonesia might have gone off and, like, you know, caused another tsunami and, you know, reintroduce me to my maker. So project funds that we had been collating and anonymizing during the past few months, those are still safe in cold storage right here. But we need to find a solution as to how those funds can be recuperated in case a bus knocks me down, right? The proverbial bus. I totally agree with that, because there's no way I'm going to trade your funds in this market the way it is. That would just be stupid. I mean, there was no solid signal to go short. There's no solid signal to go long. Going short at support doesn't make sense. You know, if we wake up tomorrow morning and price is below support and you know, all indications are this is just going to get worse, you know, then I will start considering trading short. But even that involves me transferring from cold storage funds to an account, to an exchange account, and then going short. Now, I cannot go short with what we've got here. I've got no confidence. I would rather wait for all of this to pass and then go long on a unanimous buy signal. You know, rather than this really strange price action. I do not, you know, the shorts, they last for like, look at it, man. Look at it. Let me show you the shorts, right? You see, looking at the one-day chart, there's a short, there's a short. Right here, your liquidation distance was greater than the sell signal. As soon as we got a sell signal, price reversed, right? Here, you got a sell signal and price reversed. That was the liquidation level at this level. Now that we've got a sell signal and we're at support, what do? Do we sell? No, we don't, because this market is playing with us at every signal. This market is playing with itself. This market is shooting itself in the foot, because I can bet you it's not going to achieve 2,500, which is technically what it wants to do. It's not going to achieve it with this, you know, with this choppy decline. There's something strange going on. Until we understand what it is, it's best we stay out, right? So what I had heard from Tone Vase, right, is that there is a company that specializes in securing third-party custodianship of Bitcoin, and they are called thirdsolution.com. Let me just make sure about that. It's not Third Solution. It's called thirdkeysolution.com. thirdkeysolution.com. Now, I would like everyone to look at that. Everyone who's invested and has got funds committed to look at that, and we reach an agreement how we're going to secure the funds for retrieval in case I disappear, because at the moment I'm the sole custodian of the funds, and that is not desirable, right? That's dangerous, because I can be bitten by a cobra when I go for my morning walk. I can be knocked down by a bus. Yeah, I can choke on a peanut. Any of that can happen. Granted, we need to find a solution that can retrieve the funds instantly. Placing that burden on a third-party person, it's got, what I'm saying is, we want a technological solution, right? We don't want a third-party person solution. We don't want to say, Tone Vase, you look after the private keys, or Tone Vase, you look after the passphrase, the mnemonic phrase for that wallet, because that endangers him. That creates a second point of failure, right? So you say, well, okay, Tone Vase and so and so and so and so. Then you're starting to look at, well, what happens if funds disappear? Then you know, now which person do you blame, right? So thirdkeysolutions.com, have a look at that, and we entered a discussion about it on the Cryptocurrents website, excuse me, the forum for the project, and we'll take it further from there. As for current price action, people, just to close off this, because I've been going for almost an hour and ranting and raving. I really feel like I was ranting and raving. I'm so sorry we're in this state, right? We're on the one-day Bitstamp chart, logarithmic. Everything is pointing down. You see how all the MAs are curving down in perfect unison, in correct alignment at support. So okay, let's go to the next smaller time frame that should confirm this. We've got a 4-hour sell signal, but you see right there we had a 4-hour sell signal, and that happened to be like near the bottom of this decline. Okay, it made another like third decline from there, and then it reversed. There's a 4-hour sell signal. Price immediately reversed and knocked out that trade. Will it do anything different here? Maybe it'll go lower, but how much lower? How much lower? Is this 4-hour signal now good news? I mean, it's diverging. You know, look what happened on this 4-hour sell signal's divergence right there. This is diverging. When this one diverged, okay, it took a while longer, but when it did diverge, it reversed. And this can be said for any 4-hour signal. So I'm saying this is not tradable. If we go to the 1-hour signal, which started up there, I was waiting for there to be for price to go above that 50 MA, the blue line in the 1-hour chart, and then cross down, in which case I would have issued a 1-hour sell TR. I would have done that, but it never did. It just cut short. It's the first time it's done that. It's the first time it's done that in any of the chart history I can see, and I can only scroll so far back in the 1-hour chart. I was like, well, every time that there's a 1-hour sell signal, right, there's at least these touch, right? But it didn't do it. So it's like the bears are too much in a hurry, and the bulls are not opposing it. They're like, okay, then let's go to support. So we're at support and back above it, right? We were at support today, and now we're back above it. 15-minute, and coming back to the 1 hour chart, look at that, man. Look at the stochastics. I mean, we've got the lowest closing low in the history of the chart. The stochastics didn't even touch zero. You know what I mean? They didn't even group at zero. Even though we've got the lowest close since December 2017. We've got the lowest closing low, and the stochastics couldn't reach zero. They're just diverging hard. To me, that's a sign that we're about to reverse, right? So even though your psychology, even though our minds are telling us, oh my God, the sky's falling down, the bottom's going to come out, the Bitcoin's going to have its balls chopped off, it's just going to plummet. That's not what we're seeing. It was below support. It was on massive divergence. Now it's busy going up. So, at which point do you call the sell? At which point you say, yeah, it's definitely going down, Tones like, I expect 6 more weeks of downside according to the indicator. But at which point do you go down for those 6 weeks of down? Do you go on a Sunday before the week ends, or do you go tomorrow when the week does end? If you go tomorrow and it happens to be a lower low weekly for the entire decline, has the price ever reversed on tones like 7 on his indicator 7? Yes, it's done. Yes, it's done that. I don't believe that indicator for lows either. It's good at indicating market wave highs, but on the lows it's like 13 up, sequential aggressive 13, 7, 9, 8, 7. It's like up, and those don't come true. Those don't come true. Do I believe it? No, I don't. This market is irrational, and no indicator can change or predict that. Now to 15 minutes. Yeah, so what? There's 5,900, price is above it. We're waiting for price to close below 5,900 and stay there, and then we can trade to 5,500. There's $300 worth of downside there. 4,500, the 1 week 100 MA. We can think about 3,000, we can think about 2,500, we can about 250. Will price do it? At what time, at what point are the bulls gonna say, you know what, you guys have had all like a half a year, you just messed it up, man. It's time that we make a new all-time high. And when that all-time high fever reaches fever pitch, that's the time you're going to hear me say, guys, it's not going to make an all-time high. It's not going to reach a new all-time high. It's now we're going to go back down. Because those contrarian signals are important, because this market is over-emotional. It's reactionary, right? You're dealing with a bunch of cryptocurrency nerds who have got no control of their emotions, right? Do you think that when you're a nerd and Bitcoin fanatic, that automatically means you've got control of your emotions? No, it doesn't. It means that you're over emotional for profit, right? Because whoever's trading this is not because they believe or don't believe in Bitcoin. They're doing this because of profit, and they're hyperbolic, right? That's why we get those massive rallies and these irrational contractions, right? But the point of reversal, nobody can tell. But the point of reversal is not going to come at support, right? Why would it? Why would it? Why would it? I wouldn't bet on it. It might do, but I wouldn't bet on it. I've been watching the 5-minute chart because I want to see the little details. You see, so right there you've got a 5-minute buy signal confirming a 15-minute buy signal. Not yet. You've got a 5-minute signal happened right there, confirmed by a 1-minute full valid MA signal. Here it comes. You see it there? You see the full valid MA buy signal. So at what time frame do we enter? The 1 hour, the 4 hour? I don't know. I've got no confidence. I'm not gonna issue any trade recommendation. I hope it doesn't make people angry. It's merely because I don't have the confidence. If I had the confidence, I would give it to you, right? I would, because I would trade it, right? If I had the confidence, I would trade it. But right here, I have no confidence. I don't believe anything I'm seeing. Just because a bunch of crypto monkeys are over emotional to the downside and you know, running amok on Twitter, that's a little tiny fraction of the world's population that don't understand much, man. They don't understand much. So let's give them time. Let's give the chart time, and then we'll trade it when we've got certainty, right? When it becomes clear. After so many months of failed decline, failure to make a new decline low and keep it there and go lower, after so many months of that, I'm putting my bets on the upside. I'm saying just now the bulls are going to get overconfident, right? And even the bears are going to switch sides, because they'll be like, yeah, the bottom's in, you know, 5,900 or 5,800, bottom's in, now we're going for it. They don't know that it's supposed to be 2,500, right? They're gonna it's like Wile E. Coyote. He smashes his head on the way down, and on the bounce he smashes his head on the way up. So let's just stay out of harm's way. That's the live stream for today. Thank you very much. I'm sorry that it's preachy every time during this decline. I think I've explained my views, Elliott wave wise, moving averages wise, and you know, just general sentiment. We're at support. Am I going to tell you to, like, while prices bouncing up and below support, to say, okay, now's the time to sell? No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. I would be wrong. I would be wrong, and you would blame me. I would blame myself. Right. I'd rather be like shocked at a new low, you know. I'd rather wait one day and be shocked by a new low and say, well, okay, now we don't have a choice, right? The signals are all in. Let's go short. But I'm not going to do it the day before the close at support. Okay, people. Do you understand me? Do you? I hope you feel and appreciate me. My worst fear is to disappoint you, right? You're the only people I talk to sincerely on the entire internet. I don't do this kind of thing with anybody. I'm not talking to the media, you know. I'm not collating with tone, like, what are we gonna, where's price? No, it's all from my own momentum and from what I'm speaking to people on the Telegram group. That's where my opinions are coming from. Looking at the charts, where I formulate my analysis every day, right? And I'm not the genius of technical analysis, you know, but I do think it's possible for somebody during a downtrend to say, oh, it's going to go down, and then for them to be correct almost every other day. But there's no new low, right? When you're talking about advance, right? When you talk about advance, a rally, right? You expect a new high at some point, right? When you talk about decline, you expected a new low at some point, right? So just like if I was talking for 6 months about decline, yeah, it's going to decline, it's going to decline, and there's no new low for 6 months, right? Yeah, there's no new closing low for 6 months, and you know, that would be similar to me going on for 6 months saying, yeah, it's advanced, you know, it's advanced, and there's no new high. I mean, there's no new all-time high. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm just trying to be as reasonable and as straightforward and as sincere as possible, right? I don't want to succumb to the pressure of Twitter or sentiment in the space. I believe most of these people in Bitcoin are fools anyway. I mean, especially the ones submitting analysis. I like my man Tone, and I honestly believe that his method and his indicator are good. But even here, they're not helping us. So I'll keep on updating. If there's any material change, something strong tonight, I'll update it on the website and on the Telegram group. But until tomorrow, when we see those candle closes, let's be reasonable with ourselves too, right? Don't trade unless you're sure, right? You can take a chance, but then you got to know where your stop level is. Okay, people, thank you very much for that. And you know, as my one friend said, thank you, sorry, please. You know, we'll get there. We'll get there. Just hang in there. We'll get there.